What's up, kiddos? Welcome to another online class, our Wednesday online class. So today, we invited one of my good friends who bigyan ko lang muna ng background. Sino ang ating online mentor muna ngayon, araw na to. So for this is actually hi guys, I say just mag-ano lang kayo, mag-comment at mag-greet na lang kayo. So he's actually he just recently graduated if I'm not mistaken last year. So he started out his startup company which is called Pan Delivery a few years back while he was still studying, and that's the reason why I invited him to speak with you guys on how to start your own business as a student. No, so it doesn't necessarily mean na if you're already working or you're older na, doon lang kayo pwede magnegosyo. You can start as early as now, and it's a good idea that you can actually learn from someone who's done it and who's actually has experienced all the ups and the downs of starting a business. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my good friend, Jude. Hey, Jude. Kamusta?
Hi, Gian. Okay
Alam mo,
naman.
si Jude, guys, si Jude, he took time to help us out to teach today, for this afternoon Wednesday mentor class. But he's actually based in Bicol. So imagine nyo, ang swerte natin lahat. Madami nagko-comment, Jude. So, madami nag-good afternoon sa'yo. So, good afternoon
Hello everyone. Good
from Dave.
afternoon.
Ayan, good afternoon from Dave. Kay Christine. Yan. Ating mga interns ng Experience Philippines. Oh, di ba? So, yun. So good. So anyway, I won't be discussing today because it's gonna be Jude who's gonna be giving out the class for this afternoon. So if you have any questions, like the usual stuff, you can ask them on the chat, on the comment section. Feel free to ask him anything, especially on how he started out and ano yung mga challenges as well as an entrepreneur and as a student, no? So when he started out his business. So yun. So Jude, maraming salamat nandito ka.
No problem. Basta ikaw, Gian.
Ay, talaga yan. Yan ang gusto ko sa supportive friend.
Of
Guys, magaling
course.
yan. Magaling yan. So, Jude, ikaw na yung bahala sa kanila. So, pag may mga tanong, ikaw na yun. So, there will be a comments naman on
Sure.
the side. So, you get to
Uh,
see the comments on the side lang. Pero tayong pinapawisan, pawis na.
Super init kasi
Sobrang
talaga.
init talaga.
Sorry guys kasi grabe yung weather dito.
Oo.
Summer na medyo maulan. Ganun.
Pero kakatapos na ng bagyo dyan, di ba?
Mm.
Kumusta
Yun
naman?
nga yung weird Bumagyo ng summer. Hindi yun nangyayari ever.
Wow.
Kaya kami din parang, bakit ganun?
Feeling ko
Bakit may
climate
bagyo?
change talaga. Climate change. Yan ang problema.
Totoo.
Diba? Sige guys,
I-share
so,
ko yung screen
oh,
ko.
sige, share screen mo na lang. Pakita lang natin.
Sige. Paano yun? Gumagana na ba?
Ayan. Lagay natin sa add to stream.
Yun.
Yun.
Sige.
So guys, you can see it naman, no? So pag may mga tanong, just add into the comment section, especially for those guys who've been asking me how or where, etc. Perfect na tao tanungin si Jude. Madaming experience yan, even while still studying. So it's a good time for you guys it's a good opportunity for you guys to ask him. So yun, so just make add just your questions in the comments, and that's it. So we can start the online class na. So Jude, alis ako, ikaw na bahala.
Sige, sure, no problem. Thank you, Gian.
No problem. See you.
See you. So, hello guys. Good afternoon. Yun, I'll be discussing how to start your own business. So, puro to experience-based. So, hindi ako magtuturo ng something na hindi ko naman pinagdaanan or na-experience as a startup founder. So, if you have questions, just comment para I can answer it right away. It's okay kahit during the slides while I'm talking, I'll answer it right away para masulit natin yung session natin. So, yun. First slide is how to start your business. So, I started the business, konting background lang. I started the business. Oo. Sorry guys. I started the business way back 2017, May. I was still in college taking up information technology. So it was around 2017. I was 19 that time. So yung business wasn't really something na I thought of as an IT student kasi, 'di ba, when you're in the IT industry, 'di ba, development, programming, etc. So you wouldn't actually think about making a business. Pero at that time, I was really interested in sa entrepreneurship kasi I think na magandang opportunity din yun for young people. So, I did start my business at that age. And then at that time, kahit student pa. So, ito yung 5 phases of building your business. So, based to sa experience, and ito yung process na, pinagdaanan ko as a entrepreneur. So, first, we have ideation. This is the part where you ideate kung ano yung business idea or solution na nasa isip nyo. Next is recollection and preparation. It's more about recollecting kung ano yung meron mo na resources and then ano pa yung wala sa'yo. And then you get to prepare what you have and what you can have. Next is implementation. You release your MVP, you test your market, you gather feedback from your early customers. And then next is recollection ulit and discussion. It means you're going to go through your first implementation. Kung ano yung feedback, ano yung niisip mo during the implementation, what is the experience like, ano yung ginawa mong tama or mali during the first implementation. So last but not the least, iteration and deduction. So based on your recollection and discussions, you iterate or repeat what you do right, and then you deduct any practice or thing that doesn't benefit your business. So we'll go through one by one para mas share ko pa in detail kung ano yung 5 phases na pinagdaanan namin when we were building the business. So ideation. So sa ideation kasi guys, I started the business alone. So I had to ideate on my own. Lucky kayo if you have your friends or family to be part of your team. Kasi usually when you're a solo founder, you get to solo mo din lahat ng problems. And then yung pag-ideate, ano yung mga plans. So during the ideation process, ang iisipin mo lang palagi is what problem would you like to solve? Usually, even though it's a product or a service or a solution, laging iisipin nyo ano yung problem na gusto nyong isolve. When you're going to release, if you're going to create a food startup or a food business, syempre, ang problem na sinosolve nyo, it's either satisfaction ng customers, problem of food supply, or variety of options sa area, or kung service naman, what are you going to provide na solution to their problems? Like sa amin, sa pan delivery, we provide mobility. Mobility ang problem ngayon, considering na COVID. So, yun yung mga nasa-solve namin ngayon. So, it's always important na you're going to create a product, a service, or a solution that would actually solve people's problem. Kasi, one thing na-experience din namin is, ang pinaka-worry ko nun when I started the business was to think about kung gagamitin ba yung service. Kasi ang problema, 'di ba? You're not going to create a service or a business out of something na hindi naman gagamitin, 'di ba? Usually nagiging problems ng mga business owners are they're too excited with the idea pero wala naman palang gumagamit ng product or service na naiisip niyo. So it's always important that you identify what problem would you like to solve. Next is recollection and preparation. So, ang pinaka-important question lang naman dito is, what are the things that I have and I don't have? So, realistically speaking kasi, when I started Tan Delivery way back 2017, wala naman akong capital to actually start the business. So, ang nag-capital lang sa buong business operations is 500 pesos. My 500 peso allowance actually went a long way and magpo 4 years na kami this coming May. So, I started out with a borrowed motorcycle from my brother, 500 pesos, Facebook page, kasi hindi pa namin afford gumawa ng app and I wasn't that smart enough or diligent enough to create our own app. And then, mga borrowed cellphones, yung mga lumang cellphone na yung napaglulumaan na ng family na gumagana pa naman. And then, SIM cards. Yun ang nag-fund, doon nag-start yung pan delivery. So, you always have to, after ideating, you really have to rethink and recollect yourself kung ano yung meron mo at wala. It doesn't mean yung things na yun are physical, mga monetary or physical, even skills. You have to identify kung ano yung kaya mong gawin with what you have and ano yung skills na sa tingin mong kailangan mo na wala pa. So, when I started pan delivery, the things I have are yung grit lang, perseverance, basic knowledge of how to sell, how to market my own way. Then yung wala sa akin was finance and advanced marketing strategies, business and entrepreneurial mindset, etc. So, yun, you really have to recollect yourself and prepare for it. Kung ano yung mga meron mo na, you make sure you take advantage of it. Kung realistically kaya mong makuha, like skills, there's Google naman, there's online classes, you have mentorship sessions like this provided by Experience Philippines. So you have to take advantage of these things kasi doon mo makukuha yung mga things na wala ka na hindi ka dapat gagastos masyado. It doesn't mean na wala kang skills, you have to take online classes that are expensive online. No. You just have to research online na may mga libreng resources. You just have to understand and look for the right people to actually ask. Actually, nakita ko to sa internet, ganun. Paano po ba talaga yung way? What is the way here sa Philippines? Kasi some studies vary, some research studies vary depending on the country, economic environment. So yun, resources are already available. So, kailangan mo lang i-recollect and then you have to start with what you have and make sure you take advantage of it. Next is implementation. Or, ang tinatawag ko dyan usually is risk it. Risk it kasi wala kayong starting ground eh. Especially when you're creating something new, when you're creating something different, or even though it's the same product as others, pero you have this competitive edge, kailangan mo pa rin i-risk. So, if you don't risk kasi, you'll never know. It will stay as an idea. Kahit sabihin mo sa amin na, I have this cool idea, I'm sure it will work, pero hindi mo siya in-implement. What's the point of creating a good idea without implementation? It's still an idea and will always be an idea. So, it's important na you risk it. After your recollection and preparation, whatever you have, whatever you can start with to earn and then make people use your product or service, i-risk mo na yun and implement. So, get your product or solution out there. It's important na it's already there, used by the people, effectively ginagamit na ng mga tao. It's not perfect, but it's something na you get to learn a lot from. So, when we started the business, Facebook page lang kami. So, it's usually messaging, call and text. So, with that process na ginamit namin, we learned a lot on how we will improve further kung paano namin mapapabilis yung communication process with the customer, what are the future implementations that we can use na magiging effective once we get to the app, mga ganun. Ang important kasi is you get to learn from your first release, from your first implementation. Kasi it's important na you experience it muna bago mo matutunan talaga yung pinaka-problem. Let's say, nagka-problem kayo with quality. So at least you know. You just apologize to the customer and then, ma'am, we'll do better next time and make sure you do better next time. So, experience talaga is the best teacher to actually improve your products and services. So, it's really important to get your product or solution out there. Next is know what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. So during sa implementation, it's important to take note kung ano yung sa tingin nyo na ginagawa yung tama for the business or ano yung ginagawa yung mali for the business. Alamin nyo muna. It's important to know muna kasi malay nyo yung ginagawa, sa tingin yung ginagawa yung mali, tama pala. Or yung ginagawa yung tama, yung akala yung tama, mali pala. So it's important to take down muna yung mga ganun na information to get a well wrap para may data kayo to start off with when you do your feedbacking. Next is know the strengths and weaknesses of your product or solution. Um, wag masyadong proud or mayabang when it comes to your solution kasi or product. Kasi not all things naman talaga are perfect. So it's really important na you get honest feedback, you get most the most constructive na feedback you'll get about your product or solution. Kasi it's important to know na hindi perfect yung product or solution yun, na may problem pa yan, and then may strengths and weaknesses yan. Let's say, si shampoo A, tapos si shampoo B. Si shampoo A, anti-dandruff, si shampoo B, pampahaba ng buhok. Diba? So, they're essentially the same product or solution, pero may strengths and weaknesses yung dalawa. They're different. They're serving two different markets. So, you have to understand na knowing your strengths and weaknesses of your product can actually help you develop your business. Because if you know your weaknesses, you know where to start from sa pag-develop ng weakness mo into strength. And then yung mga strengths na alam nyo ng business nyo, you'll just have to continue and keep doing it. So, phase 4 na ginawa namin during the development of the business was recollection and discussion. So, again, you'll gather your thoughts. You're going to take in information and discuss the information na nakuha nyo for your first implementation. So, usually the questions are, how's the experience? What happened right? What happened wrong? What did your customer say? And then, madami pang questions dyan na lalabas na you'll really have to synthesize, analyze. Kasi it's better na you get to experience firsthand kung ano yung mga experiences, kung ano yung mga learnings na pwede nyo makuha, kung ano yung mga mali and tama na ginawa, ano yung mga feedback ng customer, ano yung sabi ni customer na ganito na baka pwedeng may ganito para mas maganda yung experience. So you really have to go through all of that just to develop each and every implementation or release your product does. So we go to how can you do better with what you have gathered. So yung ginather nyo is information, data. Data is always important kasi this is where you will start checking if you're really serving your customers right. So, kasi let's say merong 10 customers na nagreklamo na yung product nyo hindi maganda yung quality. So you already know na quality ang issue. Kasi information talaga helps you to do better. So you always have to ask questions like, how can you do better with what you have gathered na information? Last but not the least, it's iteration and deduction. So by iteration, you repeat the right things, you iterate your best practices, your good practices, your right practices. So it's important na you just keep on repeating. You don't have to change hindi nyo kailangan baguhin yung hindi naman sira or may problema. Unless you have to really scale or grow the business. So regardless of growing or making it bigger, your business, may mga practices na you can maintain naman. Kasi you're doing the right thing for your customers. So stop doing the wrong things. Stop the bad practices na na-experience nyo and na feedback ng customers. It's important na you really try to stop doing the wrong things. Kasi in the future, marirealize mo na I should have stopped this earlier para hindi na siya naging bigger problem in the future. So, yan din yung na-experience namin ngayon, even after 4 years. So, not every solution talaga is perfect, but at least we're striving to really correct the wrong things or stop doing the bad practices talaga. Next is be sure whatever you are repeating or stopping. Use data. So, yun yung sinasabi ko, when you deduct, when you deduct practices or iterate processes na sa business nyo or practices nga, yun. When you repeat or stop, make sure it's backed with data. Let's say, we're going to repeat this practice kasi 10 out of 10 customers say that this practice we do is effective and helpful for them. We have to stop doing this kasi 10 out of 10 out of 10 customers use the service anyway. So you always have to back with data kung ano yung mga i-implement nyo, ano yung ulitin nyo and ititigil nyo. Para not only you as the business owner will be kampante kayo na tama yung ginagawa nyo, but also to save the business from doing wasteful practices and actions. Kasi there are, di ba, may mga features naman na kami kasi app-based eh. When you release an app feature na hindi naman pala nagagamit, why do you have to keep on maintaining it? You're just spending time and efforts na hindi naman pala ginagamit ng mga customers. So you really have to analyze and use data na to back up anything that you'll stop, repeat, or implement. So, basically, yun lang naman yung talk natin. So, it's really short kasi more on experience talaga yung shinare ko. So, I'll just show this slide about the 5 phases of building your business. So, based kasi sa experience ko, ito yung pinagdaanan namin throughout the years. And we've been practicing the iteration and deduction method. So, I know it's not that back ng siguro experience or strategies implemented by business professionals or what. Pero I really think na experience is the best teacher talaga. Well, as young people like us na are already doing business at this age, well, mahirap talaga kasi wala naman tayong resources like the people already working or already establishing careers. Kasi I've never experienced pa nga ma-employ or have to work in a company other than pan delivery. So, the experience is lacking pero I really learned a lot sa experience na dinala ng pan delivery, the ups and the downs. So, yun, we really, me personally, tinitake into heart talaga namin yung iteration and deduction saka recollection and discussion. Is there an effective process for, may question si David, is there an effective process for ideation? Well, when it comes to ideation kasi, it has to be something na you're good at. It's not a good thing kasi na you're going to create a business na you don't have any background. Kasi I've been through there. Wala akong background sa logistics. Wala akong malaking background when it comes to delivery, etc. So I think the effective process talaga is when you ideate, it has to be near your passion, your interest, or hobby. Kasi mas magiging effective ka if you already have knowledge, at least some knowledge about an industry, about the idea you're going to pursue. Let's say you're going to create a food business, at least man lang marunong ka magluto. Kasi it's hard to create a business na you don't know anything about. On my end naman kasi, when we started pan delivery, yung naging strength ko was really more on the startup background na na-research ko after reading a book and then sa Google. Plus yung IT IT background ko because of school na laging dina-downgrade eh. Let's say, di ba, an app is supposed to make it more convenient. But then, wala naman akong resources to actually create the app. So, I have to create a way na would actually provide a near solution sa pagkakaroon ng app. So, naisip ko, Facebook, kasi it's accessible. It's something na people already know how to use. So, Messenger and Facebook was something na effective kasi and so, bilang tambay ng social media, madali yung process nung pag-ideate kung paano ko siya i-implement yung idea ko. So yung pinaka-effective process, I think, David, talaga is you have to know kung ano talaga yung thing na saan ka talaga magaling. Or at least you have knowledge or interest or a passion for it. Malaking bagay talaga yun. Next question is, Sir, how did you and your team overcome the challenges caused by the pandemic? Well, honestly, uh, na-overcome namin yung challenges caused by the pandemic. Wala kaming specific like strategy. It's just that one thing lang yung mindset namin nun is we had to survive. Everybody got caught off guard. Kumbaga, hindi namin ini-expect talaga na magla-lockdown din sa mga provinces kasi we all know that the lockdown started in Manila. Pero we thought na mako-contain siya. So, hindi kami nag-expect na pati kami affected. So, ang mindset lang namin nun to actually survive was do everything we can to actually survive. Kasi one thing na ginagawa namin nun was to serve the city kasi nga ECQ, only delivery outfits and platforms can actually go out kasi kami may permit. So when it comes to overcoming challenges, kahit anong gawin namin, survival lang talaga yung sa mindset namin. So when it comes to the how, siguro yun, the proper mindset lang talaga yung ginawa namin. And alak. Naging malaking tulong yung alak. Kasi after a long day of serving almost 100% or 200% increase of transactions, kailangan mo talaga ng alak after. You started out working alone in your business. When did you realize that it was time to build and expand your team? Well, one metric talaga na makikita mong kailangan mo na magdagdag ng team members was yung growth ng transactions. So, if dumadami ng customers, kailangan mo na magdagdag ng tao. Pero one thing kasi na natutunan ko sa mom ko, kasi chief finance officer ko siya right now, even though you're growing, kahit you're serving a lot, nag-expand na yung team mo, and then your transactions, you really have to be critical pa rin on whether do you really need to expand your team or you can still do it at the moment. So, kailangan nyo talaga mag-set ng metric on when and bakit mo na kailangan mag-expand. So, what we did before, nung nag-start pa lang si Pan Delivery was, kung mahit na namin yung daily target namin for this month, we have to add another personnel na para hindi ma-compromise yung quality of service ng ibang customers. So that's what we did before. Ngayon kasi we're crunching a lot of numbers, especially na yung market ngayon is very very hindi mo siya sure kung magbabago, dadagdag or bababa. Given na economic crisis din tayo kasi a lot of people couldn't spend a lot na din dahil sa pandemic, madaming nawawalan work. So, yung market din is very nagpo-fluctuate din siya for us. So, yun. When I was starting, nagdagdag ako ng tao kasi I had school. So, yun. Mga realizations mo talaga niyan is uh, yung laging compromise sa quality of service. Kung mako-compromise na with the current team, you have to expand. Plus, finances pa. Kaya mo ba magpasahod ng team, member na dagdag, if kalampas na yung transactions ng ganito? Kasi, let's say, 100 transactions, ang kaya lang is dalawa. Pero in reality, kailangan mo na ng third person para mag-work. Why not ikaw muna for the meantime hanggang tumaas yung sales? Or i-improve mo yung quality service ng team mo na current, na kaya na nilang mag-serve more. So, yun yung mga compromise namin and realizations na pwede naman i-work out. May questions pa ba, guys? Bale, yun. Uh, in terms of time management naman bilang student and then a startup founder, well, the experience was hard kasi may mga times na I had to cut class just to attend to work. Pero alam ng professor, so nagpapaalam talaga ako. Especially when we joined the Ideas Space program, the acceleration program, we had to go to Manila at least each month for 2 to 3 times a month. Papaalam ako sa prof, I do my exams in advance, quizzes, requirements. So you just have to be nice. May question ulit si David. When ideating, we also need a proper business model for the startup. Do you have any business model ideas for startups? Well, it depends on the startup. Kasi when you're crafting the correct business model for your startup, it depends on what type of service or product you're going to provide. So, basta ang number one rule and target nyo bilang startup was, hindi was, is mabayaran kayo agad. Upfront lahat ng fees, you always get the money right away. So, let's say, if you're going to create a delivery startup, usually delivery platforms get commissions. Commissions from delivery fees, commissions from each transaction sa mga partner restaurants and stores. When you're going to create naman a subscription service, yung subscription, and then you add service fees. So it's always upfront. Kumbaga, ang important dyan is bayad kayo kaagad, whether they use the service or not. Kung subscription. There are different business models depending on the type of service and type of product you're going to provide. Pag food startup naman, usually it's the food itself lang naman. GCash naman charges 2% sa mga merchants when customers use your QR codes. So madaming business model ideas, but it really depends on the type of service or type of product you're going to provide. And dapat upfront. Laging upfront. It's a practice most startups really do. Next question. Okay. Next question. Was pan delivery your first business? Or dapat ba mag-practice muna bago mag-start ng new business? Well, pan delivery is my first business in reality. Yung pinaka-legit. Hindi, kasi yung before, parang wala lang. Gusto ko lang na-try. Isa lang naman actually before this. Ano siya? Kasi nag-culinary school ako before transferring sa Ateneo de Naga. I used to study in UST 2014 to 2016. And then, calendar shift. Tapos kailangan ko na umuwi ng Naga. Medyo na-delay ako. So, nag-culinary school ako. So, hindi pa naman ako nag-start ng culinary pero pinilit ako ng parents ko na magkuha ng chicken, rotisserie chicken. Hanggang sa hindi naman siya naging okay kasi kami lang naman yung kumakain. So, hindi siya naging business. Pero, dun pa lang, nalaman ko na ganito dapat pala yung gawin. So, essentially, kino-consider ko si Pad Delivery as my first legit business. Uh, well, hindi naman sa kailangan mag-practice before starting. Kasi, iniisip ko din kung ano yung practice na gagawin nyo. Kasi, kailangan mo talaga i-risk. Your first business might be that different from your second business. If ever man gagawa ka ng second business na same lang naman sa first mo, you really have to think about kung ano yung maling ginawa mo sa previous. Pero it's very unlikely kasi na you're going to repeat the same business na hindi naman naging okay. Kaya ka gumawa ng bagong business. So I think it's really about the risk. So you really have to use data, use feedback, use experiences, use insights to really make sure that your business will be okay despite not performing well sa simula. So it's really a process. How should we do market research? Do you have any suggested readings or resources for market research? To be honest, hindi kasi ako nag-read masyado. Ano lang ako, Google lang talaga, whatever I find on the internet. That's what I use for market research and all. And the idea space, doon na yung formal training ko when it comes to market research. Uh, but, ang pinaka nagamit ko nun na resource was a book called The Lean Startup by Eric Rice. Yun, you can use The Lean Startup na book by Eric Rice. Ayun, sorry, nag-cut lang. Uh, it was the book na nagturo sa akin na sa first few pages, you don't have to really start, you really don't really have to start that big to actually start. So, you just have to be strategic when it comes to growing na your business. Kasi usually the start naman is something na medyo madali pa, but maintaining the business talaga is the hard part when it comes to doing business. So yun yung pinaka-suggested reading ko talaga is The Lean Startup. Usually sa market research kasi, yung ginamit namin na data was the demographic or the background of customers. So before, ang target ko nun sa pan delivery was uh, target namin nun before was students lang or mga tamad, in general, tamad. Pero na-realize namin na we really have, after nung first month namin, solo pala ako noon, first month ko, lahat ng customers may pattern. So there are customers na stay-at-home parents, students, and professionals. Yung professionals, it includes office personnel, office staff, nurses, doctors, usually nurses and doctors eh. So may segment pala may ito pala yung market namin na ka-capture talaga. So, yun yung nagiging research namin. Kasi as a IT student, wala akong formal background when it comes to market research. Ang alam ko lang is identified namin kung ano yung market na sa-serve namin, and we have to really target them repeatedly and then explore more people who we think na magiging market din namin. So, ang isang tinatry namin are the people who explore food o try out something new, mga ganun. Explorers tawag namin. So, dumadagdag yung mga categories namin. Pero wala kasi kaming formal market research up until now. Ang nagiging market research namin na maayos na is based on data na nakukuha namin sa transactions. And then, meron na kasi kaming user experience research din na alam na namin yung certain type of users na gumagamit talaga ng pan delivery. For legal documents, is it necessary to get it right away? Or can you wait until you've made a profit from your startup? Well, in all honesty, the government really wants you to get registered right away. Kasi one thing is, uh, ang nagiging problema kasi usually if you don't register daw, uh, first is yung safety and security ng employees, plus yung legality, yung uh, credibility mo kasi hindi ka legally registered. Mahirap kumuha ng clients. Especially it depends on the type of startup you're going to build. So, yun, pwede ka naman hindi mag-register agad. As long as hindi ka ganun ka complicated to deal with. Kasi nag-start naman ako, wala naman akong legal documents pa. We've been operating for 6 months. So, nag-start kami May, nag-register kami around December and January na legally as a business. So, yung 6 months na yun, we considered it as market validation. Market validation. Kasi kami yung first na delivery platform in the Bicol region. So, essentially, non-existent yung delivery market here. So, 6 months na yun, doon namin in-analyze and discuss if delivery platforms will work in this part of the region, this part of the Philippines. So yun, nag-work naman. So naging market validation siya. So yun din yung sinasabi ko sa ibang gusto mag-startup na students or someone na wala naman talagang malaking capital or resources. You don't have to get registered right away. At least make sure you know kung kailan kayo magpaparegister. Let's say, on your first month, malaki na yung traction niyo sobra as in madami na kayong customers. You have to really get registered na kasi mahirap na kasi madami ka ng customers. So, it's not about the profit siguro. It's about the right timing when to get registered. For a delivery-based business like pan delivery, how did you find riders with a capital of 500? Or how did you start delivery? Good question. Yung capital na 500 sa akin lang yun. Kasi ako lang yung rider that time. So, wala naman kaming hinire. Ako lang yung nagde-deliver. Ako din yung nag-handle ng customer service. So, there are times na nagde-drive ako ng motorcycle. Ako yung nag-answer pa ng calls while driving or nagme-message ng mga customers. So, kaya ako nakapag-start ng capital of 500 pesos kasi I started it really alone. Like, ako lahat. Delivery, owner, and then customer service. Well, yung sa start naman ng hiring, I had to make sure na the business was already earning enough to pay a rider for a day's work. So, yung profit, babawasan ko just to hire a person who can work for me. Kasi I had to go to school. So, kailangan ko na talaga mag-hire. Kasi I started the business naman a month before school starts. So, I made sure naman na we were growing enough na I can already hire a person who can work for me. So, yung capital na 500 pesos, sa start, it was just to sustain operations and then other expenses na na-incur ng business. And then pagdating nung time na need ko na mag-hire, yung 500 pesos was for salary. And then ang business operations, yung earnings na ng business. So that's what we did. I did during the start. What technique did you use to gather for the audience gathering? Well, usually naman you can already know sa address nila. Usually students, 'di ba? Usually in an area, you know kung saan yung mga students nakatira, saan yung mga professionals nag-work. So for example, here in Naga, may parang U-belt area din. Parang U-belt. So you'll know kung student pa yan. And usually, we ask customers din talaga. We do feedbacking, honest conversations, kung kumusta, ano ba background mo. So the usual techniques naman to gather data, yun lang din naman ginagamit namin. It's just that you just have to analyze the data properly and categorize it properly. Yun lang yung naging strategy namin that time. Um, Throughout the entire 4 years, how did you solidify your branding? Mm, in terms of branding kasi, isa yan sa mga weaknesses din namin. During the span of the pan delivery, nakapalit siguro kaming logo 3 times dahil hindi ko lang gusto yung logo. 3 times, 4 times. Kasi hindi talaga kasi kami marunong. So, one thing na natutunan namin sa branding sessions sa Idea Space was uh, we've settled with the current logo kasi yun na yung kilala din ng mga customers here. And then we just have to revise siguro yung messaging, ano yung gusto namin mapakita sa customers. So, ganun na lang yung ginawa namin to solidify our brand was to maintain it na lang. Then improve any explanation, any theme, or messaging na kailangan namin i-come across. So, yun, minintain na lang namin yung logo. Uh, yung logo kasi ako lang lahat gumagawa during the 4 years. Until pinarevise ko yung logo to actually make it more professional. But it's still based on the original logo na ginawa ko. How much profit per month in the first quarter of your startup? How will you gauge if the progress you're doing so far really does have a potential of growing? Well, in terms of profit kasi, yun nga, in all honesty, medyo nahirapan ako nung malaman kung ilan yung profit kasi hindi nga ako finance person. But I know na the business was earning a lot kasi alone lang naman ako nag-start. So, essentially, nakakapaglabas ako nun every day after work dahil sa profit ng business. So, essentially, yung first quarter namin was really great kasi nakakapag-online shopping ako nun and all. And I get to buy anything I want dahil lang sa deliveries. Uh, Yun, medyo nahirapan ako doon. So, nag-gauge lang namin na the business was growing was traction. Dumadami na yung customers and then a lot of business were already interested in what we were doing. So, isang gauge talaga na makikita mo to gauge talaga if progress is actually so far maganda and then nag-grow talaga is if consistently talagang nag-grow pataas yung growth niya. It doesn't have to be big, pero you see at least 10 to 30% or more na growth. It's something na you can risk on. Kasi kami nun, we were growing around 50 to 80% each month. So ang month over month namin na growth in terms of transactions and then sales was 50 to 80%. So yun yung naging gauge lang namin nun to actually keep on going. If may growth and kung may gumagamit pa ng services. Kasi one thing na i-check mo din naman is if wala naman talagang gumagamit ng service mo or these are the same people using your service, yun, wala talagang growth. Usually kasi may repeat customers talaga kayo during the start of your startup. Pero are you doing something but to actually add in more customers? If you're already doing marketing or promotions or anything that would you think would add customers pero hindi dumadagdag. You have to really analyze kung nag-grow ba talaga or may potential ba talaga yung ginagawa niyo. So it's actually, sa akin kasi, laging ganyan yung sinasabi ko kasi we've been doing it trial and error. So, trial ng promotion, dumagdag yung customers, ibig sabihin, nag-grow ka. So, pag hindi nag-grow, ibig sabihin may problema sa process, may problema sa messaging ng marketing or promotion. So, titingnan mo pa rin kung ano yung aspect kung bakit hindi nag-grow or walang nagpo-progress. So, ang gauge mo talaga is traction. Kasi kung may gumagamit, it's gumagamit ng product or service nyo, pero hindi kayo nag-earn na, may potential of growing yun. But it's different when you're losing money. So I think you have to really check out baka yung business model nyo mali. You're charging it cheaper or lower or lugi kayo sa business model na ginawa nyo. Pero nag-grow, di ba? May progress. From 10 customers, naging 100, naging 200, 300, 500. Pero pag check nyo ng finances, you're losing. Ibig sabihin, business model yung problem. It's not the idea of the startup anymore. Diba? How did you come up with the pricing and promotional scheme of your business? It's important to know na yun, important talaga ang pricing and promotional scheme. Well, when it comes to pricing naman, ginawa ko nun is expenses ng company and then sorry, na-distract ako. Expenses, i-record mo lahat ng expenses mo. Gas, electricity, load, uh, salaries, etc. And then, may research ka kung how much are you willing to pay for this type of service and then yung competitors mo. So, ang ginawa ko nun, I research my competitors. Usually in Manila, they charge 59, 69, anything basta around 50 and more. Pero yung market was provincial, so we had to make it look like na it's cheaper compared to the rates in Manila. So nag 25 pesos kami before, and then kinumpare namin sa expenses namin. Ganun yung naging pricing scheme namin na dapat, tapos dinivide namin yung target amount namin sa expenses. So let's say 25 pesos, ang expenses mo is 1,000. So ang target mo dapat in a day or in a month is to cover the expenses. So doon ka na mag-adjust ng prices, like baka pwedeng 30 pesos and then you'll have to check again your expenses and ilan yung target nyo, kung realistic ba. Kasi let's say you're targeting 10 customers and then yung expenses mo ganito, ano dapat yung pinaka price mo para maka-target mo yung 10 customers with that kind of expenses. So experimentation talaga siya. And then you have to compare it then with the industry that's already in place. Or kung wala pang industry, you have to think about then if your customer is willing to pay with that price. So sa promotional scheme naman, it's just the same. Experimentation din ginagawa namin. We try, if it fails, we'll try another scheme na naisip namin. If it's successful, we'll keep on doing it. Knowing that competitors like Grab and Foodpanda might eventually reach your area in Bicol, what's your strategy of competing with them? What adds value to your service? Actually, they're already here in the Bicol region. So yung naging strategy namin was to really, well, actually, even before pa naman, our mission and vision is aligned to really helping local communities and local businesses, most especially MSMEs. So, ang pinaka-target namin talaga is really localizing the whole setup, the whole pan delivery and delivery platform setup. Localizing it na it's affordable and high quality. So, ganun yung naging execution namin na hindi nakakabutas ng bulsa for restaurants to actually have their restaurants and stores be part of a delivery platform. So yun yung naging strategy namin when it comes to competing with Grab and Foodpanda. So yun, may questions pa ba? Actually guys, nahirapan ako mag-answer ng questions. Actually, they were good questions. Medyo nahirapan lang talaga ako. Parang feeling ko, nagpipitch ako ulit sa idea space. Parang demo day ulit. So, yun. When you're going to, if you're thinking to start your own startup or business, you always have to think about starting small. Kasi malaking bagay talaga na you know your limitations din eh. If you have investment from family, friends, or some rich person or company or a venture capitalist, then great. Pero one thing din kasi na isipin nyo is these resources are not unlimited. So you get to survive with what you have. So it's really important then na you know your limitations, you know na ito lang yung meron mo, and you know then, and you're confident then na with what you have and what you will have in the future, you can be successful. So, it might be slow siguro, pero look at Canva, di ba? Si Melanie Perkins and then those two, yung boyfriend niya or asawa niya, and yung co-founder nilang isa, hindi naman naging madali yung journey nila, pero it took some time, but it's definitely worth it. So, it doesn't mean you really have to start with money agad. Kasi not all startups, even the most successful startups or companies na ngayon, didn't start naman lahat with money. Like Amazon, Facebook, 'di ba? Pero they were able to make it into billion-dollar industries and companies. So, so yun. I think it's really important din talaga na you know your limitations din. And mas gusto ko din nga pala talaga na I want young people talaga to start early experiencing what it's like to start their own business. Kasi number one, the risk is yung effect ng risk is less, alam mo yun, mas less damaging compared to risking all of your resources. May family ka na and all, meron ka ng obligations. While you're young kasi you still have this safety net. And then, malaking foundation din for you na when, let's say, hindi nag-work out yung business mo, pero madami kang tutunan, yung foundation mo as a person, and then as a person who's going to develop his or her career, well, malaki yung points din kasi marunong ka na magganto, marunong ka na magganyan. So, additional points siya and then additional experiences for your career in the future. So, 'di ba? Uh, with the experience I have right now, what if i-close down ko si Pan Delivery and then I apply for a company? Siyempre, malaking bagay din sa employer ko in the future na yung experience ko in building Pan Delivery was something na they can make use of. So, career-wise din and uh, personal journey-wise, malaking bagay na to start early and implement your ideas and risk anything you can have just to learn and experience. So it doesn't have to be big naman, like a full-blown business. you can start small, like online shops, online stores. Malaki pa rin yung experiences na makukuha niyo. So yun guys. May questions pa ba?
Galing, Jude, idol.
Thank you, Gian.
Galing,
Ingat.
galing. I learned a lot. It was really a good, hands-on, first person experience on Jude's journey for pan delivery.
Yun lang to, init lang talaga.
Daming questions nga talaga, no? Very na-intriga mo lahat ng mga bata, ah.
Nakakatawa nga. Actually, masyadong technical yung questions. Medyo nahihirapan ako ng onte. Parang
Para,
alam mo yung experience natin sa idea space.
ah,
Parang ganun yung na-feel ko talaga.
parang gano'n na, parang gano'n ang dating, no? Parang
Pitching.
Si Miss Diana nagsatanong.
Alam mo yung pitching, yung
Oo.
so ano gagawin mo pag may competitor ka ng ganito?
Oo. Good job, good job. Anyway,
Pero
guys,
at
I
least,
actually, ay sige, go, go. Ano, no?
pero at least it's great na naiisip nila yung mga ganun na points. Kasi ibig
Totoo.
sabihin, sila mismo, they're actually thinking about really building their own startups and businesses. They're that serious. Usually naman kasi, hindi ganito ka-specific yung questions eh. But these people, like David, Sandy, and Ashley, etc., masyadong specific. So, ibig sabihin, they're actually doing their research na din. So, it's actually great na you're going to build future startups and business.
I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of them, Jude. Sobrang galing ng mga yan. Guys, so if you guys have any, ginawa ko dun sa Discord channel. For those who are in Discord, I actually uploaded a PDF file for. It's actually one of with the writer of that PDF. I'm sorry, it was actually a review of a book. It's called The $100 Startup. It's a very good book because it's basically removes yung sinasabi ni Jude kanina, no, how he started 500 pesos lang, he was able to start pan delivery. Actually, it's a good reference na rin na you really don't need, contrary to what people think, you need money to start a business. Actually, you don't need money to start a business. In fact, you can actually start with zero money and actually still make a business and then do that. Like, for example, freelancing. And which we have, and I think, sino ba nagbigay na pala ng nag-talk last week. Freelancing, you don't even have to spend anything. You
Mm.
just offer your services and you can actually earn and then start something that you really like or something that you're passionate about. So,
Saka lagi kong sinasabi nga, especially now, na technology and digital products are already here, mas accessible na sa time namin and generation
totoo.
na
Totoo.
to actually start a business. Kasi, di ba, before brick and mortar, kailangan mo talagang capital kasi magre-rent ka ng place, etc.
Totoo.
Ngayon,
Totoo.
pwede na sa internet. So, it's actually better na
Totoo.
we make use of these opportunities we have. Hindi ka
Ang magiging
gagastos.
challenging lang, diba, Jude, is usually the noise. Kasi ang dami na.
Ayun, getting unique talaga is hard.
Oo.
Pero,
Oo. Sabi ni
there's
David,
always
gusto
talaga,
daw niya sana i-present mo din pitch deck mo sa kanya.
di ba nag-update pitch deck? Ang tagal
Ako
na.
rin, mag-update na ako ng pitch deck ko ngayon. Anyway,
Nag-pitch
padala
ako
natin.
last year.
Padala, pakita
March.
natin sa'yo, David. Papakita ni Jude yan. Padala niya sa'yo yung pitch
Hmm.
deck. Ano lang yan? 5 slides lang yan. Ay, 5 slides lang, no?
So, yung sa akin, max of 13.
Ay, ito. Magaling. Panoodin mo na lang yung video niya na nag-pitch siya. I think that's that's the best pitching you would ever see. Yan, yan si Jude, sino ba? Si Olivia,
Si Olivia, si
oo,
Airship.
si Airship. Yun ang magagaling na pitch. Live pitching yon, na-record yon on stage. So that was
Nasa
really
ano
the
yun? Nasa
padala ko nga.
YouTube yun. Yung mga pitches
Padala ko nga,
natin.
padala ko sa kanila para makita nila.
Okay.
Winner yung pitch na yun.
Mukha akong singer dun eh.
Oo. So yun, so guys, super thank you super thank you Jude as well for spending time with these students, and I really think they learned much more than their class in my opinion.
Sa totoo lang,
Di ba?
sa totoo lang, isipin mo yung College of Business dito sa Ateneo. Mas kilala ako ng teachers kumpara parang ano, kilala nila ako pero hindi ko sila kilala kasi hindi ko naman college yun. Kasi IT ako, di ba?
Oo.
Parang lagi ako ni-invite sa mga events nila kasi daw may business ako. Student na may business. While yung mga students daw nila, walang business.
Oo, iba talaga pag ano, pag ginawa mo talaga eh. Yun ang agandahan eh.
Oo. Yun ang lagi kong sinasabi talaga. Gawin mo lang kung ano yung niisip mo. Hindi naman yun
Hmm.
magiging perfect. Pero ang
Tama.
point dyan is, willing ka mag-risk. Kasi
Yun.
wala namang business na hindi ka mag-risk, di ba?
Tama rin sinabi mo, 'di ba, kanina, like, of course, if you risk, the higher the risk, the higher the
Return.
reward. Oo, the higher the reward. So, anyway, lahat ng negosyo legit, lahat ng negosyo legit. Basta as long as you don't,
Hmm.
you don't, you can start anything, any business you can think of. And there's always a market for it naman. So,
Basta legal.
basta legal. Basta legal. Yun importante. So yun. So if you guys have any more questions for Jude, just throw it away sa Discord channel. I'll actually send it to him so he can actually answer for you guys. So malaking tulong talaga when you have startup founders who've gone through the shithole of starting a business from the ups and the downs to give their really practical advice. So yeah, so magandang experience for you guys. So when you start it off now, kanyo kahit habang estudyante pala kayo, you can start off with minimal failures, but reaping maximum results or efficiency.
Hmm. Kasi, di ba, pag nakakamit tayo ng mga fellow startup founders sa events natin,
Oo.
usually ganun yung sinasabi sa akin na parang, ah, buti ka pa nag-start early, di ko pag nag-fail ka ngayon, ang laki na ng experience mo in the future. Na parang sinasabi nila, may safety net ka pa, so keep on going.
Oo.
Experience mo lang lahat. Oh, may comment
Sabi
si
ni
David. Oh.
sa high risk, high reward pati sa love life ba? Yes,
Oo,
totoo yan.
oo.
Naniniwala ako dyan. High risk, high reward pati sa love life. Walang
Lahat,
imposible.
lahat ng startup founders sasabihin nila sa'yo, ang love life talaga nila is yung startup. Diba?
Totoo yan.
Marunong nga tayo Jomoa. Bakit tayo
Loko to si Jude, ah. Kaya mas swerte mo yung mga asawa na ano eh, asawa na nag big startup. Pero
pareho
baka
lang
Dave,
naman ang gagawin, di ba?
oo,
So,
alagaan mo rin naman.
alagaan mo. Pag nagka-problema, gagawan mong solusyon. Di
Solusyon.
ba? High
Good
risk,
training
high
ground.
reward.
Good
Good
training
training
ground.
ground.
Good training ground. So guys, good training ground ang pagkaka-startup or pagkaka-negosyo. Para pagdating mo sa love
Sa
life,
love life.
sisiw na yan. Di ba, Dave? Kaya tama na yung pag-Netflix. Hindi yan. Kailangan negosyo talaga.
Pero pipili ka kasi kung love
Yeah.
life or startup.
Mahirap pumili ah. Kaya naman napanood mo yung movie ng The Startup. Startup ng yung Korean drama, di ba? Hirap talaga pag
Buti yun,
pinagsama.
may pilian eh. Si Dawson or
Oo,
si
mahirap talaga
Gio.
yan eh. Anyway, sige. We don't have much time, but super thank you guys for joining us for this session. For next week, we're gonna be having next week pala si timing. Next week si Steph.
Wow.
Siya yung next. Manganganak na nga pala siya, no? so, so next week is gonna be one of my friends. He's also a startup founder. He's also one of my friends in the startup industry, and they actually started a real estate startup company it's way down south sa Mindanao naman sa Cagayan de Oro. So it's a good way to also to ask her questions naman kasi iba naman yung scenario nila doon sa area na yun, and then all the, of course, how she started out, where to find the business, and etc. etc. Maganda itanong sa kanya during the mentor sessions natin next Wednesday. So yun, Jude. Salamat. Thank you. Guys, pasalamatin na lang si Jude for joining us for this 1 hour mentor sessions on how to start your business as a student. Yan. Sabi ni bakit daw dinamay si Dave? Okay lang, damay-damay na tayo.
Di naman yan nagkatotoo na hanapan ako ni David. Ben David.
Ayan. Ayan, mapasalamat
Thank you
sa lahat.
guys.
Ayan. Thank you. Ayan, thank you. Yo, guys, super thank you guys. So, yun lang po. Maraming salamat, and we will end the live stream already. For the new interns who's gonna be coming in, I'll send you the link here sa ano na lang sa comment section ng YouTube. Just go on that link and then I'll see you guys on the other side. All right. See you.